Hi there,
Flood of
and
comments.
welcome.
Jesus.
It is a Monday edition of the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley here, live from the man cave in Casa de la Yoakley. We got Billy Mack. Whoa, Livy, happy birthday!
Thank you.
You're welcome. Munson somewhere around there, and we've got Ty Bartell on the other side. Guys, welcome there. Hey, Chris Collinsworth, how we doing, buddy?
There we go.
So here's a guy. Let's we got to do what we got to do first. National Clean Off Your Desk Day. That's what today is. So the question becomes: Are you a dirty desk guy? Like, I know a lot of people are dirty desk guys. They say that those are the creative brains. Or are you a clean desk guy, or are you somewhere in between? Like, I'm a guy that my desk gets dirty and then I clean it off and then it just reaccumulates. Billy, where do you sit?
Well, I'm kind of always had to share a desk for the most part, so like it's usually pretty clean because then I get pissy when they destroy it. So that's kind of where I'm at.
I can respect that. Paul, how about you? I know you're a clean desk guy. I'm not even gonna ask.
Yeah, for the most part, it's organized too. So like I know where stuff is, and it bothers me when I come back and like some things are moved around, and it's like, I know the pencils belong where they here, and things go there, and so yeah. I mean, it looks, sometimes it might look like it's a little chaotic, but like I the papers are where they need to be. I know this stack of folders has certain things in it, so yeah, it's all there. I know what's going on.
Ty, what do they teach you in prison? Are you a clean desk guy or a dirty desk guy?
I think, and I think I've alluded to this before. This might have actually been a question before. I'm a very organized chaos type of guy, right? So like my desk is a mess, but I know where everything is, if it makes sense. So like I'll have just stacks of random papers, but I know what's in that stack of random papers.
We're shocked
Yeah.
that you know where everything is, being the trivia type of person you are.
So yeah, definitely desk and everything is definitely organized chaos.
All right, let's get this over with. Cleveland 48, Pittsburgh 37. Your final score last night. Steelers give up 28 consecutive points to start the game. And with that, we will start the slideshow that is all the Browns fans chiming in already. Billy Mack, the floor is yours. You called this on Friday. You had a feeling. Talk to me about what you saw last night and the feelings that you had going through.
Well, it was quite amazing. The hot start off the fumble. I didn't expect that. I expected to be a grinded out, maybe a last second field goal game winner kind of, they maybe like a 33-31 type of game. But I got to give it up to the defense of the Browns, like just being able to be in the right spots, tipping the ball, getting some interceptions, getting the hands in the passing lanes, and that quick second, those offensive linemen kind of getting their hands up 2.5 instead of trying to bull rush and get a sack, because you're not really going to get too many sacks on Big Ben just for the sake of he gets rid of the football so fast. That you're going to have to tip the ball to kind of create that. And he was long on a couple of throws, and the Browns took advantage early and was able to get off to a 28-point lead. If you saw that coming, you're a liar. But nevertheless, we'll take it. The Browns defense kind of played great early, so much early that Big Ben started to figure out the holes that we had into that second half and early fourth quarter.
All right. Paul, you watched, naturally. You got yelled at in our group chat for watching. What did you see?
I mean, what I saw was I think I have a bunch of Pittsburgh friends, and I have a bunch of Cleveland Brown friends. I was definitely glad to see the Browns win. I mean, it was definitely something good because it was. We talked a little bit about it the other day. It's the haves and the have-nots. I mean, Cleveland just knows they're going to lose. They just kind of like go into it expecting we're going to lose. And no matter what it was, regular season game, preseason game, playoff game, and everybody's just like, oh my gosh, when's the other shoe going to drop? It's one of those kind of things. And I think, I think a true Pittsburgh fan knew there was problems going into the back half of the season and said, shit, let's just get through it. Hey, we're going to still be a high seed in the playoffs. But I think realistically in their mind too, they thought, man, we're probably going to be a one and done, and we're just not set up the way this team should be. And listen, if we get lucky, great. If not, we'll see what happens. And then when they got Cleveland, all of a sudden it was like, wait a second, hey, we got this. Don't worry about this. They played their, as you quote unquote say, their JVs got to play against that week 17 game or week 17 game. Like we'll be full strength. We'll be ready to go. And then like the wheels just came first snap of the game. I mean, the wheels just come off, and then I think they just kept getting into a hole, and they don't have a run game. And Cleveland took advantage of it and took advantage of every opportunity they had. I mean, Baker didn't get sacked. That was a huge stat that I remember them talking about last night. He didn't get sacked once. And they had like a 70-some game streak coming in that they had at least one sack every game. So, hey, Cleveland did what they needed to do. Pittsburgh just kind of fell apart a little bit. They did expose Cleveland's secondary pretty bad in the second half. And I think that's going to be something they need to watch coming into Kansas City's game. But, hey, it was great to see. I mean, finally you get a team that hasn't won in a long, long time. They get to do it against their rival, and now they get to move on in the playoffs and hopefully start something. Start something that they can build on next year and the year after that. Like this could be something that's a little bit of a norm now. Is hey, let's battle for the playoffs every year. Let's try to battle for the NFC or AFC North. Let's try to do this every year.
Ty, how about you?
I mean, for me watching it, yeah, I was rooting for the Browns. I didn't have a dog in the fight though, but I was rooting for the Browns just because I don't like Pittsburgh. I thought they were I think Patriots' biggest competition. I think in the AFC almost every year, aside from Peyton Manning when he was with the Colts. But I was rooting for the Browns just because of all the years of torment that they went through, and It was nice to see the Browns fans finally getting that win, and it was nice to see that. I feel like this rivalry is back now, and I feel like it's something that's good for the sport of football. I think NFL needs this rivalry between Cleveland and Pittsburgh because I think it just makes football better. That being said, for Browns fans, yeah, you should enjoy this Victory Monday. It's a huge win over your rival in the playoffs. You move on to the next round, right? But I mean, the mark of a good team, a winning team, a playoff team. You can't hang your hat on this. So, I mean, you got to – it's just business now. You beat Pittsburgh now. I mean, enjoy it today. But, I mean, you got to start looking ahead because you got the best quarterback in the sport of football right now and one of the best, most complete teams on next week's schedule with the Chiefs. And, I mean, that's the one thing I'll say. It's the mark of a winning team. I mean, you've never seen the Patriots did it. You never saw Pittsburgh do it. When Pittsburgh went out in the playoffs, they didn't hang their hat on, at least we beat the Ravens. You can't that can't be how the season ends. You can't hang your hat on it. Even if you lose to the Chiefs, it can't be like, well, at least we beat Pittsburgh. No, you gotta try to go all the way. That's the mark of a winning team. And it's a Browns team that's learning how to win. And albeit this is their first year back to the dance, but I think that is the one thing the Browns need to kind of get over is that when you're not a losing team and you're actually a winning team, Pittsburgh isn't your main concern anymore. Winning the Super Bowl should be your main concern now.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that, Ty. I think that, listen, I'm not going to try to take anything away from Browns fans especially. I put it on Facebook last night. I felt good for Browns fans. Like, does it suck when your team loses? It does. But I've been around for almost 36 years, been a sports fan my entire life. And when I think about this, over the last 18 years, I've seen my football team raise the championship trophy twice and been to another Super Bowl on top of that. Browns fans haven't even seen their team win a game in the playoffs. They've seen 0-16 years. Like, the only thing I can compare that to is being a Pirates fan in baseball. And I remember how unbelievable it felt when the Pirates made the wild card, made the playoffs and, that whole magical season with Kutch. And I didn't want anybody kind of raining on my parade. Like, you enjoy the moment. The issue is exactly what you said, Ty. When it's, well, this was our Super Bowl. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. I like the people who are putting out there, we want more. This isn't, we didn't just come here to get here. We came here to do damage because, excuse me, I don't think you guys realize this isn't promised every year. This is not a guarantee. And as a Pirates fan telling you, do not count your chickens before they hatch. You need to go for it. Any stops that you have, you better pull them right now and go for the jugular, because it's 2020. I don't care what the calendar says. It's 2020, and anything can happen from this point forward. You've already gone through the pain. You better get something out of it now, because next year, the Patriots know, the Steelers know, any good franchise knows you are one injury away from never seeing it again. Never. Like, think about the Shazier injury and how that's affected Pittsburgh in the last 5 to 7 years, and how it affects them moving forward. How the Tom Brady injury affected the Patriots. What was that, 20...
That was the 1 year that broke our streak of winning. We would have won the division how many years? And I mean, that's a great point, DJ. I mean, that's why when you look at like what the Patriots did, how incredible that was, because football is the one sport where you can go from first to last in a matter of a single season. You could be a 12-win team 1 year, and then the next year a 5-win team. It's a very up and down thing. And I mean, yeah, and then what my dad said there too. That was the one thing I'll say. It was nice looking over at my dad and just seeing how much he was enjoying the moment of seeing that. And that's what I mean for seeing these Browns fans, these lifelong Browns fans that are finally seeing it. But I mean, you got to learn how to win. And I mean, to Michael Page's comment too. I mean, yeah, they might have been playing off a little bit. Pittsburgh still scored 37 on them. And if you think Big Ben is able to do that against your secondary, Patty Mahomes is about to do a lot more damage if you're not careful.
Ben threw for over 500 yards.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, playing on the line or not.
According to some pundits, that's just garbage time. But I got to admit, if anybody else was on social media, anywhere between the last couple of minutes of the first half up until the first couple of minutes of the fourth quarter, social media got pretty quiet whenever the Steelers started scoring, because it turned from doom and it was just doom and gloom, because the Browns, here we go, and here's the issue with that. Like, everybody gets on Juju about talking, right? Everybody talks about Juju and the bulletin board material. Like, if you're gonna get on Juju about talking and you talk and your team loses, you're just as guilty as he is. Like, you just are. But you can't call him out if you're going to sit there and run your yapper. That's just, I think that's complete BS. But this is the part of the year where, BS walks. You know what I mean? It's you talk and you either back it up or you don't. And last night, Juju did what he could, but his ass did not cash the checks that his mouth was writing for the last 2 years. I'm not a huge fan of Juju Smith-Schuster to begin with. I still think he's very immature, but at the same token, I don't think what the Browns did after the game, if you guys caught any of that, I don't think that was a real great idea. I saw Jarvis Landry call him a word that is usually described with cats after doing his dance in the locker room. Interesting. I believe that character is something that you hold yourself accountable to. And can you get carried away in a moment like that after a big win? Absolutely. But Jarvis Landry, I don't care Baker Mayfield's a leader in this team. So is Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry's got to know better. And I don't care if the Steelers are out of the playoffs. That's something that'll roll back next year. And I said it last week, and I stand by it. If you have to get pumped up for the playoffs off of the bulletin board material, off of somebody else, then why are you playing the game? Like, if you're waiting for somebody else to do it. So I'm interested in how these people who, like, Paul, you got 2 young girls. You wouldn't let them watch that. I know I wouldn't let my girls watch that if that was the case. If that's who their role models are going to be, professional athletes. If they want, let's say they want to play professional sports when they get older, it's not how a professional handles himself. I was very impressed with Baker Mayfield. Very, very impressed with Baker Mayfield. I was not impressed with the Baltimore Ravens. Did you guys see that whole stomping thing that they were doing? And I understand that the Titans did it. Yeah, I don't get it. Paige, I don't know what you're calling karma.
But No, yeah, and I mean, yeah, to my dad's comment to you, I thought you took it on the chin, and I think that's a mark of fans that get it. I think honestly, when your team loses like that, it is what it is. I mean, and you gotta be appreciative of the fact that you saw Super Bowls, and when you see that, that's just the mark of being a fan of a good team and a consistently good team. But I mean, it is kind of. I mean, to opposite point though, with everything with like Juju and Jarvis. I mean, yeah, for the kids looking up to them as role models, I get where you're coming from with that. But I mean, I think it's fun to watch as an adult as far as continuing the rivalry between them. And I think when you got that, it kind of brings back almost that old school mentality of football where it's like, it seems like, I mean, everyone kind of is. They're all kind of friends on the field now, but it kind of takes it back to like what it was like when you see like 80s football where it just seems if you were rival teams, you freaking hated each other on the field. And I mean, I think it'd be interesting to see something kind of return to that, especially with the Browns Pittsburgh rivalry actually turn into like a rivalry. That way, when you see those two are matching up on the schedule, it's like, oh, this is gonna be a good one.
Jeff chiming in saying, DJ, how did you feel about Juju dancing when they were down 15 in the fourth? Didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I mean, you should. There's a time and a place to celebrate, right? That's after it's all done. It's after the game is in hand. You're in the locker room. The phones are down. Celebrate with your teammates. Why are we doing Corvette or whatever the hell they're doing? Like,
well, they all do it. And think about like you're down by 21 points and a guy gets a first down and he's like dropping the ball after he gets the first down. Hey, dude, you're down by 3 scores. You just got a first down. Get your ass back to the huddle and go do it again. Instead, they're like, doing that and then they're dropping the ball and they're all excited and pointing and stuff. And it's like, what the hell are you doing?
If it's a 3-point game, I can get behind it, right? Because you're trying to get some momentum, especially when there's fans in the stands. You're trying to get them all stirred up. We're going to talk about this in a minute, but there was 2,500 people that were invited there.
Where were they at?
All Steeler fans, supposedly, and family. How the hell did these Browns people get in? That it bothered me last night. And Chris Collinsworth with his stupid, everything's got a price. If you're family of a Steelers player and you get tickets to it, you're not hurting for money. Like, you're not hurting for money enough to give those tickets away. If you're not going to go, just give them to another family. Certainly don't give them to a Browns family or a Browns fan. Like, what are you doing?
But where were those 2,500 people at? Because when they showed the stadium, there was like a little.
They were probably in the suites. I'll bet you they lined the suites.
They had to have been, because you'd see a couple little blips of people like in the stands a little bit on like that main concourse level. But then after that, I was like, where are these other 2,500 people at? Because
Paige is saying that it's friends and family from both teams. That's not. No, it was only for Pittsburgh, because they're not allowing Cleveland people other than the Browns and their staff into the stadium. That was the whole rub on the situation. Was the Steelers tried to stack the deck with whatever they were bringing in, whatever Governor Wolf was bringing in, at least from what I was reading up. But you're right, Paul. They were few and far between. But then someone said on Twitter that the majority of people were in the loges, because the loges are easier to clean because you just fog them than actually going through the stadium.
So they're there, but you can't see them, and you definitely can't hear them. So I just
wanted to, after that fumble, and I didn't even see it. I saw Quinn's text message as we were putting the girls to bed, and I was like, "That's not good." And as soon as I saw what happened, I was like, "Just play Renegade. Play Renegade every second that there's a break in the action until the end of the game." But obviously that didn't happen. But Browns, congratulations to Browns fans. This is a long time in the making. We're going to get to some of these questions here and get Billy's take, because I know everybody wants to know Billy's take on all this stuff. What is the feeling on Ben as a Steelers fan? Listen, he's my favorite quarterback in Steelers history. Since he was drafted, I've been a huge fan. I've just, huge Roethlisberger. I got stuff everywhere here in the man cave. Roethlisberger. I got signed footballs. I've got signed pictures. I got like 17 Big Ben jerseys. It was tough to watch the ending of that last night because say what you want about Roethlisberger. I know everybody's got a joke about his history. We'll put it that way and put it delicately. Dude didn't give up. He just kept on chucking all the way till the end. When you throw 65 times or what he ended up throwing, like, is he the highest character person? Would I ever let him date my sister? Probably not. But still my quarterback. I'll still support him. I've always supported him. I've never said the dude should hang it up. I think that he's earned the right to walk off on his own terms at this point. He's brought you 2 Super Bowl championships, delivered you to another Super Bowl. Dude was 11-0 at one point this season. I know, all I heard about was, if the Steelers lose, we're going to talk about the past. Yeah, because we have one, and that's the difference. You can talk about the past when you have one. No championships, you're going to enjoy your ride right now, right? You enjoy it. You take it in on a week-to-week basis. If that was Ben's last pass last night, thank you. Like, honest to God, thank you. Because, I'm not going to tell you that I sat there and cried when I saw this picture. Where is it? Come on. This one, last night. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that tears did or didn't come from my face. Because when you think about the 18 years and not only what that guy has brought joy to my family, he's brought joy, pain too, because I got Browns fans in my family, but like the sports is something special to where, and this is where it gets me. Sports is something special to where you remember where you were when things happen, right? You remember things that you may never have again. You remember, where you were when Jerome Bettis fumbled and Ben made the tackle. You remember where you were when Ben threw the ball into the corner of the end zone to Santonio Holmes. You remember all that stuff. And people are quick. It's a what have you done for me lately society. Ben Roethlisberger will go down as one of the, if not the best quarterback in Pittsburgh history. And I understand why Cleveland fans hate him, because he's owned your ass for as long as he's been in the league. And I can respect that. That's what competition's all about. But it was tough to watch last night. It was tough because you knew he wanted more. He wants to win this championship and ride off in the sunset the same way Jerome did. And it just wasn't in the cards. So as a Steeler fan, if that's the last time I ever see my favorite quarterback throw a pass, thank you. Thank you for everything. I know guys like Ben Roethlisberger don't grow on trees. I'm not under the illusion that, franchise quarterbacks are just going to pop up in the draft. You've got to lose a lot of games to get a franchise quarterback in this league, unless you're the New England Patriots and somehow luck out with a 6th-round draft pick that ends up being the greatest quarterback of all time. They just don't happen like that. So if that's it, Ben, thank you very much. And again, Browns, congratulations, good luck. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, that's tough. What's your take? Did you see a Roethlisberger that you think's going to hang it up last night?
I mean, just to get a take on it, I think it's realizing, and you saw Pouncey acting like that too. I mean, whether or not they hang it up, after last night, or they might have one more year, I think it's finally coming to the realization that it's an end of an era in Pittsburgh now, and it's finally coming to that where this team that has put together so many successful seasons and those 3 Super Bowl runs, 2 of which ended with them hoisting the trophy. I think it's finally just a culmination of all those feelings, realizing that this is the end of the line, and Father Time is finally starting to catch up with all these guys, and they don't have many more years, or that might be their last game in the league. But I mean, even if not, there's not many more seasons left under some of these guys' belts, and it's just that feeling that all sports players, all sports legends eventually have to come to and come to acceptance with, that your time is limited, and no matter what professional sport you play. And I think that's kind of what came over both of them last night, is that they're realizing that their time, even whether or not it was their last game last night or not, it's limited. And it's coming to an end of an era for that particular Pittsburgh Steelers team.
Coach Seidel saying, DJ, have you ever met Ben? I have Steeler fan friends who have friends from Findlay say he's a total D-bag. Just curious. I've never met him. Like, I like, listen, sometimes you don't want to meet your heroes, right? Because you realize that they're not the people that you put on that pedestal. But I wouldn't have no problem shaking his hand, looking him in the face and saying thank you for all the great things that the great memories you brought me. He doesn't even know my name. Doesn't even know that I exist, or a lot of people in Steelers Nation. But doesn't mean that he didn't make a great impact on what I've done. You know what I mean? It's one of those things I'll never. One of the greatest memories I'll have is being screamed at by my mom and my dad as a sophomore in college when Jerome Bettis fumbled. I jumped out of the chair and landed on the ground, screaming, pounding the ground like a toddler. And Roethlisberger made that tackle. The Steelers won, and my dad just came over and gave me a big hug and said, don't you ever act like that again, but I'm glad your Steelers won. My dad was a Steelers and a Browns fan. Don't ask me how that works. I don't know. But it was one of the coolest memories I'll ever have with him because he wasn't necessarily a great sports fan. He was just in it for the food. So, all right, Mac, we've waited long enough. The carpet is yours. Baker Mayfield. Stinks, right? Terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't think he's great, but he won me a playoff game, so it's very hard for me to say he's not our quarterback. So, I mean, hey, kudos. He played well enough to win a game last night, and that's awesome. It was an awesome feeling. We had, as Browns Nation, we had a very great night last night. So, yeah, kudos to Baker. Got it to done. Hasn't been done since 1994 for a playoff victory. So it's hard to sign that guy. Nobody else before him. That long list of quarterbacks is slowly running out now. So awesome.
Are you ready to stamp him as your guy?
I mean, it's hard. Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to because he won a playoff game and he beat what we could. There are our rivals. I mean, there's one stone there. He finally beat Big Ben. I said last week, I won't consider it a rivalry until we beat Big Ben. I just can't do it. Finally did it, and he did it. So why not? He has to be our quarterback going forward. Hopefully he continues to get better.
Let's see here. Thoughts on 4th and 1. I'm interested from the Browns standpoint. When did you become uncomfortable last night, Billy, if at all?
I was pretty uncomfortable in that second half most of the game. I kind of seen as soon as we came out, we had three and outs. I was bitching at Quinn, going, "What are we doing? Why are we not running the football? Why are we trying to chuck the ball down the field? Incompletions. We got a big lead. I mean, old school football kind of dictates, hey, let's get the clock moving a little bit. Let's settle it down. Let's try to establish what we are as a running football team." And we came out those first 2 possessions and didn't even hand the ball off. And then we had three and outs, and Pittsburgh scored twice in there. So that made me super nervous. When they didn't go for it on 4th and 1, I thought that was the game. I thought for sure that was the moment where we were going to win. And then I think we scored on that drive that they didn't go on 4th and 1.
Yeah, I'm with you, and it's interesting that we're kind of on the same page. And I feel like I'm doing a little too much talking, so feel to interrupt whenever you want, guys. For a coach to sit there and be quoted saying, "We don't live on our fears, we live on our hopes," for the last 10 years or whatever it is, I don't understand how on 4th and 1, when you're down and you have the momentum, and you get a punt that's net positive of 20 yards, how that doesn't shift the entire game on its ear. And Tomlin talks about it, and we've run so many 4th and 1s this year that we didn't get. I didn't understand the no call. I didn't understand not going for it in a situation where your season's on the line, and you look at your guys in the eye and you say, "Listen, you're either going home or you're going to go another week, and we're going to go to Buffalo. But it all comes down to this." And then you punt the ball. Like, he talks about, and I'm a big Mike Tomlin guy. I'm a big Mike Tomlin quote guy. But when you when you sit there and you talk about staring adversity in the face and the first one that blinks loses, Tomlin didn't just blink, he flinched last night. And I know that when you think about it, how I like to think about it is Tomlin's a defensive guy. He doesn't want he wants his defense to win this game. Defense was not going to win that game last night. The offense did not put them in position to do so. So
no, and when you look at that, like it was one of those moments where if they had momentum going, and listen, I know people a lot of times don't pay attention or can't stand some of the commentators that are on a lot of these games. And I know Collinsworth is one of those guys that people can't stand, but I mean, he hit it right on the head. He's like, I'd have gone for 4th and 1, 1,000%. 1,000%. He goes, you've got the momentum on your side right now. Like you get that first down, you keep that momentum going. I mean, yeah, there might not have been a lot of people in the stands, if any that you could see, but on the field, like he talked about, and we've all been either a player or a coach at some point, and momentum is real. And when you can definitely feel when momentum makes a change, and it was like they had it. I mean, as I'm watching the game, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, they're up 4.4 touchdowns right now. And then all of a sudden, like it started creeping back, and I'm like, well, all right, now they're only up by like 12. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, it was kind of going back and forth. And you're like, man, if they keep doing this right now, this is going to be, I mean, Browns fans' sphincters were getting really, really tight. And you're sitting there going, okay, what the hell? And then
if you didn't think this was a Cleveland thing, like it was, if you, as a Browns fan, if you didn't think that Cleveland Brown, BS was creeping in the second half, I mean, then you're lying to yourself, because almost got to be every Browns fan thought, oh, this is such a Cleveland thing to do, to get up by 28 and end up finding a way to lose this game in the second half. Like, well, that was Billy a real thing.
Billy and I were texting back and forth, and I was like, this is like the 0-3 game they talked about. That Cleveland was up big in that game, and then they come back and they lose 33-30 or 36-33. And I'm thinking to myself, dear Lord, if these guys blow this, I was like,
you'll never hear the end of it.
This is going to be, I mean, Cleveland's just going to burn down because they're going to be so pissed off. But then it was like, all of a sudden they go that 4th and 1 and they punt it. And I'm like, well, okay, and then in my head, I'm going, if Cleveland scores on this drive, it's over. And it's over.
What my dad's saying too, that's actually what I was saying the whole second half. I was like, Cleveland got up big and they played not to lose. And that's what it seemed like. They were just trying to play to run the clock off, and I'm like, you can't do that. And I mean, I was throwing fuel to the fire, because when Pittsburgh got within 11, I was scared, because the whole room changed too. Like you said, social media changed. It was my buddy and then my dad, and it was like all hyped up. And then it changed when Pittsburgh started creeping back in. I had to fuel to the fire, and I kept on saying Pittsburgh's going to win this game now, and they didn't like that too much.
Oh, so you're the guy this week.
Yeah.
But,
you're off the hook, Paul.
Ty, is because the Browns had all these coaches out. They had 5 coaches out. So when you come into the halftime, you got position coaches in new positions. They're trying to make adjustments. So overall, a special teams coach is trying to sit here and make decisions, say, hey, well, how are we going to manage this game going forward? An offensive coordinator who's never called any plays this year. So you're trying to figure out things. So, yeah, you almost knew they were going to come out and try to play not to lose. But again, the first 2 drives, they didn't throw the ball. They didn't run the ball one time.
No,
not one time. They run the ball. So it's hard to say they came out and said they're trying not to lose. But as the quarter progressed, it looked like they just were throwing everything underneath and then really just trying to make bad decisions. So,
well, I think we all saw what the game plan was last night. It was, don't let the offensive line lose this ball game for you. I mean, For Baker to be losing the ball like Ben Roethlisberger at 2.17 seconds a throw tells you all you need to know. It was, listen, if we're going to lose this ball game, it's because we're going to turn it over, or because our defense is not going to slow down Roethlisberger and the wide receiving core. It was not going to be 7 sacks from TJ Watt.
And they also had 2 injuries at the offensive line. They had no more reserve players for the offensive line. They talked about the fullback coming in and playing guard if something else happened to that offensive line. Well, so, I mean, you got to do this is what you talk about. You got to do what you got to do when the playoffs comes around and to try to win games. But, yeah, I am wearing a Manziel jersey.
to actually reverse skate
The
too.
last
And I
Browns
mean,
jersey I bought because I quit buying Browns jerseys because they just change teams every year and they get fired and they quit playing for the Browns. So,
but as I was saying, to kind of just go back a little bit, and hindsight is always 2020. And to go back on that 4th-and-1 punt, I feel like it could have gone either way though, right? And I mean, I don't get me wrong, I'm in agreement that with the way Pittsburgh's offense is playing, you should absolutely go for it 4th-and-1 because the way they were throwing it, I saw them I think 4 consecutive plays when it was like 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. Big Ben's ripping off these great passes to keep the drive going and keep it alive. And I mean, at the end of the day, I'm trusting number 7 over anybody else. But also that Pittsburgh defense, if I'm not wrong, didn't the Browns go 3 and out 2 consecutive times that allowed Pittsburgh to get the ball back? So, I mean, I kind of understand both sides because say you do go for the punt, Pittsburgh gets a 3 and out, they go down and score. That's also I can understand where you're thinking.
I see your point, but from a standpoint, again, I'm not an NFL football coach, but I got to say, if it were 7 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, okay, punt it away. But you got a free timeout with the break between the 3rd and 4th quarter. Talk it over, and then you come out and you try to draw the punt team offsides, the punt return team offsides on a hard count on a punt. Like
sometimes you got to go win the game. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like again, and we talked about this at the high school level for the state championship game. You want your best player on the field. If you believe your best player on the Pittsburgh Steelers wears a number 4 jersey instead of a number 7 jersey, then you're paying the wrong guy $41 million next year. The punt is a situation. It could be a weapon or a tool. Last night, Mike Tomlin flinched when opportunity arose, and he got scared because if the offense does it, it's the same situation as what maybe not the same situation, but Doug Peterson getting fired today. Like, you just don't milk it in. Like, you don't mail it in. Milk it in. That's not the right one. You don't mail it in.
You're thinking it's National Milk Day. That's why.
It is National Milk Day. I was going to say something. I better not. We're not in a situation, the Steelers, I forget what they were down at that point, 12, something like that. It was double digits. It was always 2-score ball game. So my thing is, like you said, Billy, sometimes you just got to go win the game. And if you're going to come out and say things, like Juju Smith-Schuster and the Browns is the Browns, which somewhere is going to be a great freaking shirt, no matter which way I thought about it last night when I saw the quote. I was like, wow, if the Steelers win this game, somebody from Pittsburgh needs to come out with a shirt that's black and gold and say the Browns is the Browns. In the same way, if the Browns win, come out with an orange or a brown shirt that says the Browns is the Browns, because that's going to be a big seller. But I digress. I think that you got to back up your guys on that and go win the ball game. I don't care if it's Derek Watt up the middle. I don't care if it's your 39-year-old quarterback and he snaps his arm trying to get it. Like, that's why you get paid all that money, and go get the freaking first down, control the clock, get some points on the board, make it a 1-score game, and then go win the ball game. Last night, they did not do that. They chickened out. So that's if they're not going to roll the dice, I'm not going to back them, right? If you're not going to go out and try to put your Baker Mayfield, plant your flag, then guess what? I'm not going to salute it. So that's Mike Tomlin lived in his fears last night, not his hopes, and that's as crystal clear as it comes.
And I mean, to go against what you said, Bailey, I think Baker played great last night. And I mean, to Michael Page, who's that's been backing this guy since week 1, even though he had that terrible game against the Ravens, I will say.
Didn't Michael Page say we were going to get killed on Friday?
He did. Yeah, he did. No, I'm just
same thing with Aaron. Didn't he say the same thing? We were going to get killed. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, I mean, it's fun to come at me when you were wrong Friday. Okay. I still love you.
But I do think
we'll be together for this week. But
I do think that Baker played really, really well last night. I think he played great considering the fact. I mean, yeah, like I said too, and I said this before the show. He didn't throw for 300 yards.
You give a professional quarterback, 14-0 lead right out the gate in the first quarter, I think every quarterback's going to play pretty well. Okay, I think it's pretty fair to say that.
But still,
I think Kelly
that's not
Holcomb
a
might have
knock.
something to say about that.
That's not a knock on any quarterback. That's just, hey, if you're going to spot and if you're going to play a team that gives you 5 turnovers, they're going to play pretty well.
Stop right here. This didn't we talk about this? Didn't we talk about this in pregame?
Yeah.
This comment. Baker got the ball out in 2.3 seconds last night. That's great. Okay. So we're going, on one hand, we're going to sit there and stroke Baker Mayfield. But who's been getting the ball out 2.3 seconds all year long?
Big Ben.
But it's a problem in Pittsburgh. It's a problem in Pittsburgh. This is where, and somebody, and Paige, you're more than welcome to back this up. I don't understand the difference between the two of them. Tell me, I would love to see the difference, other than 1-1 last night and 1 loss.
I would say scheme-wise is probably the biggest issue, right? It's got to be, depending on what the Steelers scheme is compared to what the Browns scheme is going to be, why it's good or bad. I mean, I don't really see an issue with it either way. I think it's good for the Browns because you got playmakers who can catch and get yards after catch, but they also run the football extremely well. I think that was the first game I think that he was 2.3. I can't imagine there was other games where he averaged that. Well, I would say more on like 3.5 is probably his average, right?
It all goes back to what? Not losing the game because of who? The offensive line.
Right.
And I think that was a great game plan.
Yeah, and I think with I mean, the Steelers basically run like a West Coast offense. Basically, they don't run the football all that much, and they're going to dink and doink you down the field. And if you give them an opportunity, they're going to dink and doink you to death until you bring your safeties up, and then they're going to try to chuck over top of you. You know, it's kind of that old Bill Walsh West Coast offense.
Paige, I see what you're doing here. I see what the quotes under the Defensive Player of the Year. Like, I'm not making this up. They ran away from T.J. Watt last night. They ran away from him, and I'm not. I mean, did anybody else not see that?
Yeah, well, I mean, what you do if you're a good team, and a good coach, you really want to you run that boot option, which is what we were talking about on Friday. Is you want to boot to him and kind of keep him on the edge where you're not blocking him, but he's going to have to make a decision, and you leave him.
They didn't do that. They didn't do any of that.
They did, no, but they didn't. They basically handed it off a whole lot because they ran.
Every play they ran in the bootlegs were the other side. They were trying to stay completely away from 90 last night.
Well, then they did a great job.
I mean, they did, but
they ran to the left side of their offensive line all night long.
They didn't go anywhere near T.J. Watt.
Well, a lot of that's what's his Conkle or whatever. The right tackle went down, and then you still had your left tackle in there. So, I mean, I understand a little bit of that, but yeah, run away from their best player. What's the problem with that?
Nothing. I'm just trying to present a point. Thoughts on Browns versus KC?
I never said TJ was a bum. I think TJ is a great player. I think Myles Garrett's a little better, and they both didn't really do a whole lot.
I think Garrett's an absolute bum. I saw more, and this could be just the way it was produced, but I saw more Garrett on the sideline last night than I saw him on the field.
Well, I'm kind of explaining my thoughts on Garrett. There's 2 halves to Garrett this year, but I know you really don't want to hear about it.
I mean, Pittsburgh was double and triple teaming him last night to keep him from any damage. So I mean,
they moved him from the left side to the right side just to kind of get him a different angle, and it was an automatic double team no matter wherever he was at.
Yeah, I mean, he's a player.
When he was on Villanueva, it was a single team.
And they were chipping him almost religiously.
On the right side, yeah.
On both sides.
I saw Villanueva on 2
I'm sure there was
plays,
but
when they were talking about his flexible ankles, which I thought was completely awkward.
That was weird.
And I thought, and if it hasn't happened yet, I don't want to be the guy that puts it out there. But with all the Roethlisberger jokes out there and stuff like that, I don't want to hear about flexible ankles on Myles Garrett. So, where was T.J. Watt in the fourth quarter when the game was on the line? Says Jeff Bezos.
That's just Bezos having to get at you because he lost $50 for that baseball bet. That's the only way you can make it up.
Yeah, he got me back on the Ohio State game though, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. You were all good. You were good all show until. What did I do? I don't think Myles Garrett's that good. Like he's an All-Pro. That's fantastic. But he always disappears. When Ron Podesta's calling you out on Facebook, you know that something's completely obvious. Just gonna put that out there. Is that why Garrett was double teamed all night? Okay. Garrett's a bum. Really? Did you miss the part where he was the only guy on the left or right, and they're still giving him? I did miss that part. I also missed the part where he got a sack or made any big plays in the backfield. So if you could pull that up for me, Coach Seidel. I know you like all that film. Pull that up for me from last night, and I'd be happy to share it here on the Power Hour. And Paige, I saw Paige getting after Hooper last night, I think. No.
Oh, my God. Hooper, he got to go. He got to go.
Here he is, the new Baker Mayfield, Austin Hooper.
He's got to go. I mean, he dropped it was, boy. I mean, let the ball hit you in the face mask for crying loud. No.
Let me get this in real quick before we get too far. We got like 12 minutes left. Today's Power Hour proudly presented by WRS Insurance Solutions, life, disability, Medicare, and long-term care. Give them a buzz today. Our good friends at WRS Insurance Solutions, proud sponsor of your sports network, and also brought to you today by Joe Dickey Electric. Everything commercial, residential, everything electrical. Head over to DickeyElectric.com. Tell them YSN sent you. Dickey Electric, the official electric sponsor of YSNLive.com.
I love how me and Paul had our heads and Billy's just big ass ears sitting at the top of the corner of it.
Come on, Billy, help out.
Kind of like the Steelers D getting zero pressures. See, I don't think that's accurate. I think they had pressures. They just didn't get any sacks.
They weren't ready for Baker to get the ball out so quickly. I don't think they weren't ready for that because he hasn't done it all year. I mean, Baker just adjusted. That's why I think Baker played great last night. And I mean, you talk about the lead that he was given. I understand that, but I mean, we've also seen plenty of good and great quarterbacks blow leads in the playoffs, and that comeback was in the making for the Steelers to come back and take over in that game. The fact that Baker did what he needed to do on offense, and I thought that particularly, I think there was that 1 3rd and 10 play where he got it off to Kareem Hunt in time, and he got hit on that play, and Kareem Hunt was able to get the first down on it. I mean, I think Baker did what he needed to do to hold off the Steelers, and I think that's why he played great last night.
If you want a really, really good insight as to, and this is not to take anything away from the Browns, it's actually credit to Kevin Stefanski and his staff. Go to Warren Sharp on Twitter, WARREN, just like Warren in Ohio, and then Sharp, just like Sharp Cheddar. He has an unbelievable breakdown on Twitter about the eerie similarities and how the Steelers just don't adjust over the last half decade. And that's defensively, and Stefanski exposed that last night. One of the big ones was the wide receivers was Jarvis on the linebackers, and how they exposed that last night. I think the game that is like almost to like the step is San Diego from a few years ago. So check that out. Warren Sharp on Twitter. Our buddy Nate Kuiper brought that to my attention, put it out on his Facebook page. I'm interested to see your guys' take on that. Paige saying Baker's been doing a better job of taking off as well. He's talking about running the football. He's made great plays down the stretch by running the ball. Yeah, and he's got a nose for that first down marker, which I thought was interesting because a lot of quarterbacks would probably slide, and he's doing head first dives, which was, I mean, again, the Browns had a great game plan going in. They executed, and they got the turnovers, which in playoff football, that's going to win you some games by itself. So congratulations to the Browns and the Browns fans. I'm going to turn the page on this because we'll talk more about the Browns, obviously, throughout the week. But tonight we've got a national championship, boys. You've got Alabama and you've got Ohio State. The overs, the spreads, or the line's 80, right?
I thought it was 75 and a half. At least that's where it started. That's where it started out at. I haven't checked it since.
8.5-point underdogs for the Buckeyes. How do you see things going tonight for Ohio State?
I'm so nervous for this game. This game, I'm as nervous as I was last night. I keep thinking Florida and Ohio State from years ago. They have a Alabama has a problem child, and he's a grown man, and he plays wide receiver, and he just won the Heisman Trophy. And I don't know if we have a guy who can guard him, who can defend him. I just don't know. I think they'll come up with some kind of scheme. That to me, that's the only thing. I think offensively we match up. I think we can go tick for tack, but I think we'll run the ball pretty well. This isn't a stout defense Alabama has had. This isn't the Alabama defense of past. I think we'll be okay running the football. It's just going to be, can we extend those drives on them 3rd and 6s, them 3rd and 7s? Can we keep staying on the field? But defensively, I think, man, this could be a shootout. This could be an over game. We could see 80, 90 points in this game.
The line is Alabama 9 over. Under is 75. The over under. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you. Bezos wants to bet that too. Like, he wants Alabama in the worst way. So if you're out there and you got some money that you want to put up, Bezos is willing to put up a hundo on this.
Good old Ben Franklin. Well,
I always stay away from my teams. That's just my rule of thumb. So
I'm representing Ohio State tonight, but I just told my dad too. We were talking because they had the pregame up with it, and I just told him, I was like, "There's a very real possibility that Alabama blows this game out of the water," and it is a very real possibility. But like I said, on the other side, it's like Cleveland teams and Ohio teams in general, they love having that chip on their shoulder. They really do. And it was the same way when I was going against Clemson. And I understand there was all that the animosity from last year with Clemson. But I also thought Trevor Lawrence was going to torch the Buckeyes secondary as far as the passing game was concerned. I thought that he was going to throw all over them. And, I mean, to some extent he did. But, I mean, they held him, I think, incredibly well as far as not letting the big playmaker make the big plays. Will they do that with Devonta Smith tonight? Who knows? It's yet to be seen. But, I mean, they did a really good job against Lawrence, though, against Clemson.
Well, considering that Michael Page likes Alabama this game, I'm going to go somehow, some way, Ohio State's going to be hoisting a new trophy.
Page owns 2 Ohio State jerseys. So everybody's been kind of tagging me in all this, and they're like, well, how do you bet against Ohio State? How do you not like Ohio State? It's not that I don't like Ohio State. I used to be a huge Ohio State fan. And then the whole Tressel situation happened, and I was like, done. I sold everything Ohio State I had, other than the Yoakley jersey my wife got me at one point during our relationship before we got married. I just don't like it. I don't like the way they handle things internally with Ohio State. We've got family in Alabama, and that's why I'm cheering on the Tide tonight. So I'm hoping, and there's a little bit of that snarky, seeing Cleveland Brown stuff up and down the timeline, and the other thing, which I'll get into in my beef, is if you're from Ohio, why do you have to cheer for the Cleveland Browns? Like, I want to figure, like, I'm still trying to figure this one out. Somebody explain that to me.
I said this the other day. I said, why are we to be faithful to these owners? We should be able to be a fan to whatever team we want.
Isn't it a regional thing? Like, shouldn't you be a fan to your regional team?
Yeah, well, Youngstown's like smack dab in the middle between Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
But not East Palestine.
Not East Palestine.
East Palestine. East Palestine. I've worked in Pittsburgh. I've commuted to Pittsburgh. If I ever commuted to Cleveland, you'll never see me again because I'll drive off a cliff into Lake Erie.
That's why in this area there's so many like on one side and the other. It's like, I don't want to say it's an even split, depending on which team's winning. I guess we'll be able to find that out.
I mean, shit, you'd think Paul owns real estate all over the damn country with how many teams he likes from all over the place. He's a Raiders fan. He's a Braves fan. He's a Florida State.
I think I've got Paul figured out. I've never talked to him about this, but I think, like, he's a Raider till he dies, right? He's a Raider through and through. So the South Range Raiders connect to the Oakland Raiders, or the Las Vegas Raiders, whichever one you are. The Braves are a type of Native American, which, Paul, if I'm not mistaken, you are part Native American, correct?
Yeah, on my grandmother's side there was, yes.
Okay. That's baseball. Basketball, who are you?
I don't care about basketball.
Okay, Florida State's the Seminoles, so that goes into the Native American thing. Plus, the Seminoles are burgundy and gold kind. I mean, or what's it? Garnet and gold. So it all kind of ties together, but it's all based around South Range. Now, that's just a guess, but I'm starting to figure this stuff out.
It's my thing, and I'm a Chicago Blackhawks fan too. So, the Native American theme there has some of that. But yeah, the Florida State thing. The Florida State thing started actually. It was probably right as I got into high school.
The Charlie Ward era.
Yeah, I was at Charlie Ward and Derek Brooks and those guys, and it was actually the athletic director we had at the time was a big Florida State fan, and the colors were very similar. Our uniforms at that time were very similar to those uniforms, so it kind of transitioned that way. And the Oakland Raiders thing, the Oakland Raiders thing was just because I have so many family members on my dad's side that are all huge Steeler fans, and like their rival back in the 70s and the 80s was the Raiders. Like that was the they always met each other in the playoffs and everything, and so I always rooted against who they were playing, and I was like, all right, I rooted for who they were playing against, and it became the Raiders. So yeah.
No, I got it. Carrie, I beg to differ. I got to figure it out. Now, it took me a while to kind of MacGyver this thing, but I've got a blueprint in my dining room of all the fans that Paul is, and I kind of figured it out. I traced it back to its origins. So I mean, it's not all crazy, because when you first told me all your different teams, I was like, how? Like, it doesn't. There's no consistent basis. But then when you add the burgundy dot, if you will, that is South Range, it all ties together in some way, shape, or form. So
and when South Range became South Range, it was the Greenford Bobcats and North Lima Zippers, and when they came together to be South Range, there was two color schemes that were voted on by the students: burgundy and gold, black and silver. And
I'm glad they went burgundy and gold.
There was more girls in the school, so they voted for. How awesome would it have been if they were the Raiders and they would have been silver and black? What other school around here is silver and black besides Edison?
Nobody. And my thing is too, as far as like teams, if you're going to root for them, I mean, I don't give a damn about who teams you root for. If you root for all teams that are all over the place in every different sport, my biggest thing is that you stick with your teams through winning and losing. I can't stand the people that if you're
didn't mean to do that. Sorry, Billy.
If you're like the people that were fans of LeBron when they were Cleveland, and then became Miami Heat fans, and then they became Los Angeles Lakers.
That doesn't make any damn sense. It really doesn't. The only way you're trying to do that is call somebody a bandwagon fan. But listen, I'm tired of being loyal to an owner like the guy who owns the Indians, who just ships guys off. He just ships guys off and says, I'm a billionaire, but I'm not going to pay a guy because he's an all-star. No, I'm not going to do it. Why should I support him? It's not about supporting the teams anymore. Everybody needs to wise up, and you go and you follow the players you enjoy watching and make you happy to watch those games and go for it. Stop rooting for these damn teams, because really what you're doing is supporting these damn owners, and that's stupid.
Is that why you're wearing the Browns jersey right now?
Yes.
I support the name on the front of the jersey, Billy, not the name on the back.
Hey, college, you can do that all day.
No, man, doesn't matter, man. I stick with my guys no matter what. Tom Brady ships house. I'm not jumping over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm a Pats fan through and through, no matter what. So
that's me. I like that. But I'm a jersey guy, so I like jerseys. How about this one, guys? Coming in the mail today.
Vancouver.
Anybody know who this is?
I don't know one hockey player.
J.T. Miller. Ring any bells? East Palestine High School. Played baseball. Was on the U.S. national team for hockey. And was drafted by the New York Rangers. So, got this in the mail. I've wanted this jersey for a long time, since he was a Ranger, actually. Finally was able to pull the trigger on it. Excited. JT, we're going to have you sign this one, and we're going to post this up in the in HQ. I also, this one's a little bit tougher to swallow, though, boys. I got a Derek Wolfe Ravens jersey that not real thrilled with, but I love Derek. I love supporting Beaver Local Zone and all that he's doing for Beaver Local. So I'll have him sign that one, but I'll never wear that one the way I'm wearing this one. Plus,
you should get him the sign. You should get him the Beaver Local one. Have him sign it, and you can hang that one up.
I don't like. I'm not crazy about Beaver Local's jerseys, to be honest with you. Like, they're not real pretty. I mean, so I hate the Ravens, right? I think everybody hates the Ravens on this particular cast, but they do have some sweet unis. I do like their unis, especially their purple unis with the gold interior. They're sharp. They're sharp. There's just something about purple unis. Unless you're fat, then you look like Grimace, and then you're in trouble. So, all right, let's get to our G. Burley Farms. What's your beef, or what's your filet? Starting it off, the man of the hour, Mr. Billy Mack. I really thought people were going to give it to you more than they did today, man.
Well, I have to say it's got to be filet. I think it's got to be the Cleveland Browns winning the playoff game, first time for since '94. Some of these guys who were commenting probably weren't even born yet when the Browns won the playoff game. So kudos to the Browns. Looking forward to this week, and hopefully we can go out there and play well and get a dub.
Uh-oh, look at this comment. This one's a little late. It makes sense, DJ. When I was young, I liked everyone who was purple and gold. Like the Ravens. Ooh.
Is he a Ravens fan too?
Uber Browns fan. All of a sudden shows his colors. All right, Ty, floor is yours. What do you got?
Yeah, I guess mine will be a fillet. I got this weird glow on my face because of the lighting, and I got this like weird wreath that's like making an awkward like shape around my head. So I mean, I don't know. It's weird, but it kind of just works out. So I guess that'll be my cheap cash-in fillet today.
What's the movie that Bruce Willis was in in outer space? Like the weird lady.
Fifth Element.
Fifth Element. That Ty looks like he's from the Fifth Element right now with one of those weird hairdos. Muncie, let's go.
I mean, mine's just a fillet today. I mean, congratulations to all the Browns fans. You know, my wife's one of those fans, and her side of the family is all a bunch of big Cleveland Browns fans, and they were all really excited, and everybody kept thinking they were in a dream or a nightmare last night, and they didn't want to wake up, and it's real. So they won, and they were excited, and good for them. So
sounds like Paul had a good night. Good for you, buddy. Proud of you. It's always good when the better half has a good night, because it makes your night a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah. She stayed awake too. That was surprising. She watched the whole game.
I have a beef. Tristan still hasn't paid me $50. Hey, Tristan, come on. There's only one guy in this company that can pull that off, and that's Ron Potesta. We pay our bets around here. We pay our bets. Completely legal. Purple and gold, you know, like Vikings, Lakers, not that stupid-ass Vegas gold someone switched us to. All right, I hope that doesn't backfire on you, Coach. Good luck. I'm gonna go with a beef and a fillet. The fillet is gonna be the same way I started this show. Congratulations to all the Cleveland Browns fans in the franchise. That's incredible for you. I remember being so excited when the Pirates got into the playoffs, and then when they won that crazy wild card game. I can only imagine that's what you were feeling last night, and it's a feeling you'll never forget. Unfortunately, don't let this go to waste. Cheer your team on through. Don't just be happy with a victory over the Steelers, because it doesn't mean anything. You can say it's your Super Bowl, but it really doesn't have the same text of what it could be. You know, you could win a Lombardi in a crazy year that people said wouldn't count. Doesn't matter. You still got a Lombardi. So take that home with you. My beef is, again, people who the whole you got to root for the Buckeyes and the Browns if you're from Ohio. No, you don't. You shouldn't have to. Like, I'm an Ohio guy through and through. Trust me, I love this state. I was, you know, it's the heart of it all, right? However, I didn't go to Ohio State. I grew up further from Cleveland than I did Pittsburgh. So let people root for who they want to root for. I mean, that's just what it boils down to. Whatever makes them happy, right? If I'm going to pay money for a Vancouver Canucks jersey, it makes me happy. Leave me the hell alone.
Absolutely.
So unless you're a guy that hates somebody for 17 weeks and then comes back and says
Like
you're gonna
Fernando
jump on
Tatis
his
jersey is still coming in the mail.
Whose?
Fernando Tatis.
Oh, you get the same mail call that I do. It sounds like.
Watch his career tank now. Watch him be like a 210 hitter.
He'll burn that thing faster than anything. The only beautiful
blame
thing
the
about
owners
Billy is
for
it's all documented here on YouTube and Facebook. We can always go back and see what he had to say about it. So, guys, thanks for checking in here on this Monday edition of the Power Hour. We'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday, Trivia Day. We'll hopefully be back tomorrow. I know I'll be here because I got nothing else to do for a couple weeks. I'll see you guys tomorrow.